Joining us now, Jeff Cavins, CEO of Outdoorsy. It is a global online RV rental marketplace. Jeff, great to be with you today. I want to talk about the numbers in just a moment. The first thing I need to know is, where are you? Because that looks amazing.
Isn't it gorgeous? Well, I'm Outdoorsy. I'm in southern Colorado in a place called Durango, in between Durango and Telluride, where we have an outpost, an Outdoorsy outpost office, to meet all these travelers intersecting to the national parks, which are all very close to Durango.
So you're there, situated, because demand is off the charts. Where are you seeing the most demand, and how are you providing all those RVs to the travelers who want them?
Well, the demand is certainly, it is global. The world is reopening, and there's a lot of revenge travel underway. As I think Guy mentioned in the opening of the segment, RV sales are up 30% this year over last year. Last year was up 15%. Ford just announced $14 billion backlog. But what's valuable for Outdoorsy is many people that buy these RVs eventually put them in a marketplace like Outdoorsy to monetize them and commercialize them. And for us, very popular spots right now are Colorado, where I am, Southern California, which has very reliable weather, Utah, Texas, Florida. Those typically top the markets for popularity. And I happen to be lucky enough to be in Colorado to meet many of our customers this week.
Jeff, how do you maintain quality? How do you make sure that the RVs that people are putting into the system, trying to monetize kind of, I guess we could think about this as sort of an Airbnb type scenario. How do you make sure that they are good enough for people to enjoy their holidays?
That's a great question. We are very invested in what we call trust and safety. And one of the things that we do, no matter whether you're a lister, somebody that owns an RV that wants to monetize it, or you were one of the many millions of people who want to rent one for outdoor travel, every customer goes through a 200-point multi-factored background check. We look at everything. And in the case of the owner has to load maintenance records. And there's an honor system associated with this to prove that the vehicle is maintained every 90 days, where tread wear, LP propane gas, and brakes are checked every 90 days. The tread wear has to be 50% or better on every vehicle. We prefer vehicles that are 1990 or newer. Fortunately for us, because of the massive surge in buying, the typical ownership curve of RV ownership, it starts off as an impulsive and emotional purchase, and then it usually trends into the 97% idle status, which is what happens with many of these. And so a commercial opportunity for them make a lot of sense. The good news for us is all these sales that are happening in 2019, 20, and 21 are going to turn into new supply on the Outdoorsy marketplace.
Jeff,
there's 56 million of these things laying around in people's backyards, garages, and driveways around the world.
You mentioned what starts out as an emotional purchase. We all have a renewed appreciation for the great outdoors, this solo or intimate type of travel through 2020. But post-COVID, what does it look like when we can get on planes and go to big resorts, maybe the way we used to?
Right. What happened was Outdoorsy really is, it's almost, think of it as a mobile hotel industry. People that, there's 337 million people that go to the national parks. Outdoorsy was just chosen by the U.S. Department of the Interior to be the camper van RV marketplace for the 65 national parks in America. There is no Airbnb in Arches or Grand Canyon National Park. There's no Hilton or Hyatt in Yosemite or Yellowstone. So you really need to bring your lodging with you. And because of COVID and post-COVID, people have learned that maintaining their own contact surfaces, their bathrooms, their kitchens, their own sleeping quarters is very important for not only comfort, but for safety. So it's one of those channels that opened up to consumers. And Steve Jobs was famous for saying, once the consumer learns that they can have more, they will never settle for less. What COVID did for us is it snapped in many years of awareness around this form of travel. And because of that, 2021 for us is started off as 145% year-on-year growth over 2020, which was an enormous snap for the company.
What's the future of the business, Jeff? Where do you see it going? What do you see its ownership structure looking like? Is it going to be a private company or a public company? What is the path to profitability? I'm just kind of curious as to what the financials look like right now.
Well, the company's been growing very, very fast. We are looking at the public markets. We get approached a lot around that subject from those who would like to take us out. The company just raised $120 million. And a portion of that raise is going to our insurtech called Roamly. A lot of people don't realize this, but the commercialization of a privately owned recreational vehicle is a violation of most insurance policies in America and in Canada. So we had to build an insurtech to solve that problem. And so it's called Roamly. It's insurance that moves. And what we do is we give people a new insurance product that can replace their Geico or their State Farm policy or their Progressive policy. And we remove the commercial exclusion clause, which means we call it the thou shalt not rent clause. But in this case with Roamly, you are now blessed to commercialize your RV, and then you can build a fleet. We have people on our site that have 200 RVs, and they're operating them out of essentially the backyard or the land that they may occupy. And we have people making millions of dollars listing RVs on Outdoorsy. So that insurance policy is extremely important to them to make sure that they're meeting the regulatory and statutory environments of the states.